It's time now for Ringside Report. Ringside Report is brought to you tonight by Sports Cream. When muscles hurt, rub in Sports Cream for fast pain relief. Well, there was to have been a heavyweight championship fight down in South Africa coming up in February. It won't be coming up in February. The reason is Bowe coming up with an injury.
Yeah, Bowe set to go at Caesar's Palace against Frans Botha, but he got cut in training. This is Bowe during one of his better moments against Evander Holyfield, but he will not go on February 5th against Frans Botha because he got a cut. It required 10 stitches, and he will have to lay out. And, you know, for Bowe, he's kind of frozen out of the heavyweight picture in terms of a title match because that man, Evander Holyfield, now has the title. And he's going to fight Michael Moore, then he's going to fight Lennox Lewis, and so Bowe has to make do with what's left. This sets him back a little bit more. Yeah, and a hand cut is something that you can't really fool around with. Can't generate any power. You can't even really lace a glove up properly. Yeah, it's a problem, and I think for Bowe, they'll have to get healed and hopefully get back into the fray pretty soon and get himself some good fights under his belt. I said that if I was in South Africa, of course, it was going to be at Caesar's Palace. The bottom line is it's not going to be. And there was almost a question as to whether another championship fight was going to be over in London, England. They had a press conference for a fight that was upcoming between Michael Bentt and Herbie Hyde, the British champion, and a fight broke out. Yeah, at the press conference. Now, it's very rare that guys actually get hit when those fights. They're kind of like football fights and baseball fights. Nobody really gets hit. Well, Michael Bentt cracked Herbie Hyde, knocked him down, made his lip bleed. You know, the next thing you know, boxing's going to become violent. And it turned out the commission over there in England was very distressed about this and said, any more of this, we will not sanction the fight. Yeah, it happened on a terrace of a London hotel. There really was a pretty good punch. That really could have been something serious. Well, it really could have been, and it is surprising to see that happen. But Herbie Hyde was really taunting Bentt. Bentt took the bait. I'm surprised because you and I both know Michael Bentt. He really isn't that kind of guy normally, and it was shocking to see that happen. Lending new meaning to the term on the terrace. Let's talk about a fight that we have coming up next week. It's another rematch, and Livingstone Bramble started to talk about the fight between Harold Brazier, whom Bramble already fought and actually handled relatively well, and Kevin Pompey. These are a couple of warriors very much like the man we just saw. Oh, that's for sure. And this was a bout in which we expected a good one. That man, Kevin Pompey, had to lose 5 or 6 pounds the day of the fight, and it showed. It was a war, but Harold Brazier, in our minds anyway, landed many, many more punches, his punch profile indicated, and I thought outboxed Kevin Pompey, but alas, he did not get the decision in this one. But boy, it was exciting, and when has Pompey been in anything but an exciting fight? And you might say the same thing about Harold Brazier. It's not often that we can really promise you an exciting fight, but yet I feel very qualified, and I feel like I'm on solid ground when I say this is going to be a great fight. This kind of action was normal during the course of the fight, and you know, this is the kind of bout, Barry, that really begs for a rematch, and you so often don't get it, and we're delighted, of course, that the top-ranked people made this match again. We think you'll be delighted with it as well. I thought it was interesting that Livingstone Bramble says he would like to fight the winner, which I also think would make an outstanding match. It really would, and you know, it's funny when you're reminding me here of the fact that he beat Harold Brazier. Of course, at that time, Brazier had a real tough shoulder problem, couldn't lift his arm right, but still, Bramble did have a win over him. So I think Bramble against the winner of that fight will be quite good, and aren't we the little matchmakers tonight? Yes, aren't we, though? Also a note coming up later this week, the Boxing Hall of Fame up in Conestoga, New York. Really interesting that boxing really does have a very real Hall of Fame right now. They will announce their inductions coming up later this week, too. They have 4 categories. They have pioneers, old-timers, modern, and non-participants. I think you qualify in all those categories. I'm certainly a non-participant. I would be technically modern, and I'm certainly an old-timer. But to me, you're a pioneer. But once again, a reminder that we have an outstanding fight coming up next week, too. We're going to be back in Boston. It is a rematch between Kevin Pompey and Harold Brazier. And once again, I say, I promise you, it will be a good one. This has been Ringside Report. Ringside Report was brought to you once again by Sports Cream. When muscles